Yo, what is up guys? I'm here hitting you up with a new video, a long awaited video guys, account showcase time of my own account here right now. I know you wanted to know what I cooked up, how my units looked like for my grind to RTA, and I made it like a long mystery. But you know what, season 1 is over now. Now is the perfect time to actually showcase you. All my stuff, the stuff I will show you is all and truly all the builds that I used during the RTA season. So it's what all the builds you're seeing now are pre 2x or 4x even before we found the blessing galore. But I want to show you how they looked like during my grind, basically, because the improved versions, it doesn't make sense to show them when they were worse before, right? Okay, so guys, quick thing in eigener Sache, we are actually super close on hitting 6,000 subscribers on this channel. So in case you are not subscribed yet, subscribe now with notifications on so you do not miss out on any future videos. So I finished with 3,427 points, and as you can see here, I finished rank 178. A little bit sad that I did not finish rank 187. Basically here win rate 79.2%, 84 victories, 22 defeats over the entire duration of the 2-month grind of season S1. I didn't play more because it was like, I just don't like the meta, to be honest. Just me. I just don't like it that much, and that's why I decided to not play more. And I feel like, yeah, it's good enough. I wasn't. I'm a little bit lazy too, you know. Okay, let's kick things off. I structured all the units in a way where it just makes sense to show you my core units that I used over the entirety of my grind. Some units I used earlier, some units I used later down the line. So here's my Messiah. I think I have shown my Messiah quite often here. Those are his stats. This is what I used for my RTA session. He's a P5 455 Messiah. I used him every time I could. If I can use him, I used him. If I couldn't use him, then I didn't use him, right? Because he's all my pride, you know, my fun and pride, our Lord and Savior Messiah himself. He was a little bit worse during the season. This is, by the way, improved gear. But also he will, the next time you might see him, he will look also different, because I'm looking forward to improving him further with more attack, more crit damage. And I also need to improve on his count piece, because his count is still not optimal. I only have like 10% final damage up, 25% crit damage, and only like I have the lowest red rolls possible, and I want to roll that piece even further to get the highest rolls possible. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to aim for here. Next up we have Hinrich. Hinrich is just there for when I play CC, and I don't know if my opponent plays Bulwark or not, right? So I just have him there, right? So this is his stats. This is how he looks like. You know what? Let me revisit Messiah so you can see here his total stats, so you know how he looks like. Now let's move on to the Hinrich. So Hinrich is nothing special. I have him on a rev build with crit rate, accuracy, because I don't like having attack on revelation. I feel like the revelation damage doesn't change really that much if you have high attack or not. You can see he also has like almost plus 2k attack, not without anything, right? But the idea behind that truly is that if I had to play CC that I have, and people really didn't play a lighthouse that much, because I'm personally under I don't like to play my strippers actually on revelation. I rather prefer playing them on codex and stuff like that, because if people play a lighthouse, I do not want to trigger lighthouse. So this is the main reason why I usually do not play revelation. But for Hinrich it is slightly a different story, and also lighthouse was not played that much, to be honest. So revelation made sense, and I like to have that little bit of extra damage. Okay, so this is why I played him like this. Nothing too special here. It's, for me personally, it is all about speed tuning, and he has one crit rate piece in here, so he has a chance of critting to actually proc the revelation, otherwise it doesn't make sense. And I play accuracy because his role at the end of the day is to strip and not to deal damage, right? If I want to deal him damage, then I have him on a completely different build. So those are the stats, nothing too crazy. Obviously you want to have insight on it, otherwise you will not get through any 300 res builds, 200 res builds, whatever, right, at the end of the day. And there's nothing too much. And also the only time I play Hinrich is against bruisers, right? So he doesn't need to be that fast, because bruisers, like, even if they are fast, right, even if they're people who play like fast blood buff builds, yeah, they're not gonna outspeed something like this. And depending on the draft and how you have a lot of things depend on the draft. Then this is my Lily. Used her, I think, in the latter half of my, I would say, road to top 200. I would let's call it this way. Nothing too crazy. I wanted to make sure that she is in the 330ish range, so she can speed contest other opponents. Depending on the draft, I can outspeed in certain situations, so that's why I have her also on Strive. I could make her faster if I wanted to, but I don't feel like it's worth it, because I always look at units and I try to make them decently fast, okay, but I don't want to make them too fast, because they're also like some sort of, how do you say it, they are common bands. That's how I want to refer to them. Lily is like a common band, so I don't need to make her super fast. But now that Plume is in the meta, actually, and this is the reason why I built her in the pre-Plume, I did not use Lily personally, because Lily was a unit that either got first picked or she got banned, so I felt like I don't need that unit right now, and she wasn't played that much, so I just did not play her. But then Plume came in and a lot of people picked Plume, so now it gave me the chance to pick the Lily actually, and I built her up because of two reasons. First and foremost, because of Plume, she's now open to get picked, and the second of all is a lot of people still have her, and also bruiser players have her build, so I want to make sure if they pick the Plume, I'm gonna counter pick their Lily. I don't want them to have the chance to get her. A unit like Lily benefits them more than, for example, like, I don't know, Napoleon or one of the other units or speed boosters. So that's why I brought her up. And the stripe is for speed contest if they do like some shenanigans, pick something against me, so I can cut in between. Beyontin, my Beyontin is self-explanatory. She's for my double pump strat. And I used her together either with Messiah or with Liliam, actually. So it is one or, to be honest, because she works, you know what, she actually works with any DPS. That's the fun part. She works with any DPS. She's on Swift Bulwark, that's her stats. I also wanted to in the 330ish range because I don't like being below that. I want to be fast, and Bulwark is super important to me because of many different reasons overall. And I just personally like having Bulwark on my units because it means I can, in certain scenarios, just slot in Freya, which we will all come later, and I can benefit of Freya's effect to make them even faster. Okay, so this is how I tech my units basically. But yeah, there's nothing more to say. The majority of my session, she was as someone told me actually that you click on something here and then you can actually switch. Someone said you can, this is how we can look at it. Okay, so if you click here, we can actually look at the advancements here. So nowadays she's 453, but during my entire session, majority of the time she was early on she was 1-for-1, and then at some point I made her 4-for-1, and now I invested even more into her because I feel like she's such a great unit. My personal opinion, she's one of my staples, and a staple unit for me also gets my lattices. This is how I view my things. Hoyan is not built right now because I have other units built right now. Do I have any left over? Let me see if I have any left over. So I think like it's at least quite interesting to look at. Let me see what is not equipped right now. Do I have any funky stuff? Oh yeah, I have this one. This is not equipped. Let's equip this. How does she look like now? Oh yeah, it's decent, nothing too special. I used Nymphonial during my grind too, but I did use Nymphonial the majority of the time pre-bloom. Okay, so pre-bloom I used her quite a bit and with a lot of success. Actually, she was really good because she gave my team a lot of immunity, a lot of protection, stuff like that, and I could have also slotted her together with a Freya and still get more speed boost and cut right in between. So there were so many different techs you were able to use, and she just gave so much survivability to your team. Super great unit, I really liked her. But then Plume came out, and I feel like with Plume it's a lot harder to draft her in because you're kind of forced to use Plume in your team because you don't want your opponent picking Plume. So I feel like right now in the current meta game it's hard to make her work. Like if I want to play her in, let's say, RTA, then I have to make it so in a way that I need to know, like, okay, my opponent plays Bruiser, for example. I give you just an example because if opponent plays CC, then does make sense. But let's say my opponent plays Bruiser, just as an example, and they have the first pick, then I have to pre-ban the Plume in case they want to play the Plume, but I have to pre-ban the Plume, okay, so I can slot her in. So I replace Plume with Nymphonia basically in the draft. Hard to use now in PvP. She was fantastic, but because of Plume, it's kind of hard to make her work. Let's see next season if I can just slot her in some shape or form. Gotta wait for that. Liliam, I think I will also speed this up because the video is already 12 minutes long. I can't. Guys, let me know if you like this, and also let me know if you actually watched the entire video. I'm curious. Let me know if you watched everything. Actually, she looked that this already did kind of updated build, because before she was on 4-piece blood buff on count. This is what I used her. I used her on a count. I don't know which count I used, to be honest. One of my many different counts. Probably it has to be this one. I think it has to be this one because 4-piece blood buff with 1-piece momentum and fury edge, while also having the assault final damage up. This is what I used. I did not play Law Liliam because I'm an aggressive player, and her role was, hey, when you get your turn, make sure you're gonna remove. I want to see an S3 cycle it into the S2. I want to get rid of units. I want to CC them, stuff like that. I don't want to have like some weird wet noodle type of damage. So this is her build. Now I'm using her on MaTeIRiA because it's more versatile with the way you can play her. Those are her stats, right? Like the speed doesn't really matter for me. For me, it's like all the raw damage power that truly matters for her. She's obviously 555. Also, my Nymphonia was 414, and my Lily is 551. Oh yeah, and I forgot my Hinrich. My Hinrich is 314. Because the Hinrich also here, you have a higher chance of dispelling. That's why I put 2 lattices into his S1. Okay, so I feel like this is super important to make him even more reliable stripper. Let's jump to the next unit. We have here Hoyan. This is my Hoyan. She is a P5 111 unit, and I basically only use her as a counter pick. There's really not much to say about her. She was just a counter pick that I drafted in certain scenarios when a speed match ups. Outside of that, I didn't use her. She's just a situational pick. But when I picked her, she was great. She was fantastic. Like when the draft allows it, oof. Hoyan is such a menace because I felt first-hand embarrassment playing against Hoyans. I made sure to have her available in case my opponent also has it. But when the draft allows it and you pick her in that situational pick, she's a very strong pick, because now your opponent is either forced to ban her or they let her through, and that will be very annoying to deal with her. My Yali, I didn't use her much, like super rarely, even more situational than Hoyan, but Hoyan I used later on, is 455, and this, I think this was the build. I didn't change anything, nothing too special, nothing crazy overall, just having a bolt on her, just to equip some random stuff to her was good enough. But when I used her, she could obviously be a lot better. She could be faster, have book crit damage, all the good stuff, right? This is like nothing great or so, but it worked, you know. Suki, which I used, I think this also changed because if I remember correctly, this is not for end of season type of thing, not for middle season, but I switched that because I have the Reaper shell now, and I felt like, okay, if I want to play her, I don't necessarily, I could either want to play on Bulwark or I want to play her on Reaper. Those are her stats. I just wanted to make sure, like, if I play against Bruiser's type and I slot her in, then it's whatever. I don't need the Bulwark, but if I speed contest and I have something to counter, there are a lot of builds that I made to like counter play certain things, and so it's like some strats that I'm using. But yeah, I feel like there's nothing much to say here. She's 515 nowadays. She was 514 during the session, but I think now on my last day of RTA, I decided to finish this one because I was annoyed. If you use, for example, Codex of Magic or even something else, right? Also now with the buff now, I thought that works before, but now she can cycle her skill 3 a lot faster, which helps quite a bit, because otherwise you're doing like S2, S3, S3 if you play Codex, or S3, S2, and then you do like 3 times S1 till you can actually do S3. And I feel like cycling through that skill 3 when you actually have her in a grind, if you're not in a grind, then it doesn't matter, whatever, right? But if you're getting in a grindier situation, cycling through that faster, it helps a lot. Helps a lot, because you could get into some clutch situation which could make or break the game. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy. I have on Dark Moon, Bulwark, typical strat, decent amount of speed. She doesn't need to be fast, to be honest, because the way you play her, attack her in and use her, nobody else outspeeds Freya anyways, so she doesn't need to be on a fast set. You just need to do the math and see like, okay, this is already what type of speed is good enough. The speed is good enough. She could be like 2 speed faster if I wanted to. No, I could make it even more fast, but like it's not required because nobody's gonna outspeed it. And if you outspeed this Freya, then you will be on my radar, and then whatever unit that was is either gonna get banned or counterpicked, or one or the other way, okay? But that did not happen once. This is absolutely the absolute most that I needed it to be. And yeah, there's nothing too much to say. I wanted to make sure that she has a little bit of accuracy overall. With the Dark Moon is a really good combination, because it also could ruin turn meter, turn orders and stuff like that. But now I have like 140% accuracy, plus she's also on gaze. I don't want to change it. I really like it because over time it gets more. She decently just to land her Nightmare debuff if when I want it to land, right? Or the pushback to work. So this is, yeah, but there's nothing much to say about her. Then my Plume, when she was released, this is how I played her as well. Bulwark, everything all the way through, all the techs available depending on what I do. High accuracy, because I think this is important if you want to play her, just to make sure that you're landing the defense break, that you're landing the weakness, and so on and so forth. But yeah, nothing else really to say about this unit that much, except that she's really powerful, but just make it decently fast with accuracy. That's how I played her. Then this is the Gatsby later down the line, post Plume, Mari, and Sword 7 and all the new shots and all the good stuff that released. Pre-Plume, it was actually quite hard to make this boy usable, in my opinion. You need defense break, you need debuffs for him to make work. And the way I discovered, I mean, I already made a showcase about him. So those were his stats. The majority of the time. Then I think on the last day or end of season I improved him. He's better now in my opinion than he's but those were his stats for the entirety of this grind. 555 obviously, but this is how I used him, because I figured out how do you want to play him. If you want to make him work, especially with Sword 7 where you have to CC, he needs to be fast. Him slow does not work. Because for Sword 7 to function, you need to attack units that are stunned. And it doesn't make sense if you play a draft where you stun a unit, they get out of the stun, and then he uses skill, right? Because he does not get a benefit. So he needs to be fast to make use of it. And Sword 7 allows that playstyle now, because with Sword 7, you can make your DPS units faster and sacrifice, for example, attack and crit damage, but you still get the same damage as if you would have them slower on a count build, for example, with higher crit damage and stuff like that, because the condition of this one with 50% damage boost kind of mitigates whatever stats you're losing. So roundabout you're getting the same amount of stats, but now you have a faster unit. And I feel like now with this build he plays a lot better, and a fast Gatsby plays so much better. I don't like all these other things, Jackal and blah blah blah. I think nothing really worked, but this strategy for him I feel like is the absolute best for him, and this works the absolute best for him if you're playing fast with good stats on a Sword 7. This is how he's like, I think this is right now optimal Gatsby. Then another unit I used was Obol, also on Codex. Nothing too special. I wish I would have more, but like I sadly don't have that many Bulwark Codexes, so this is like also some sort of leftover. This is like already good enough in terms of speed. It could be faster, right? But this is what I used, because when I played that was usually against bruiser players anyways. I'm not gonna use these type of units when I speed contest. But yeah, that was basically good enough for the follow-up. And since my Gatsby is also like this type of speed, I wanted to make sure that they are not that far apart from each other, because it doesn't make sense if I have a unit that is super fast and then my DPS unit cannot follow up and utilize his effect, right? Kazuya, I really did not use it all. I don't know, I feel like, I know she got nerfed, people complaining, but like for my playstyle, I felt like she did not really fit that much, and also gear. You know, if I had more gear, I probably would have built her. I probably had something I looked at and be like, yeah, I was not too happy about how she looked, and because there's like accuracy missing, speed is missing, whatever is missing, right? And be like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna use that. And yeah, and then more or less, I think this is about the last unit that I truly used for my grind here. Mari, really like her as well. She is on a codex build. Wait, is this even? Oh, she actually has that piece equipped to her. Yeah, she has that equipped to her. She is on a codex build, as just mentioned, with these type of stats. Just make her have to speed tune correctly, so she's not that fast. She is, need to check again, but she is basically a speed slower than Obol, in case, like, for example, I don't have Hinrich, I don't have whatever, right? And I basically have to use Obol as a stripper. She has to be slower than Obol, so Obol can S2 and she can S3 here, right? But yeah, also on Bulwark to tech in with Freya if I want to, and as a protection and stuff, because there are many different scenarios that could happen. I just like having that type of thing, right? And then she goes right before the Gatsby. And what I liked about her is she's a dark unit, and she has a, like, the healing I didn't even notice really, because that's not how I played the game. But what I liked about her, I slotted in a unit and I got an attack buffer without slotting in an actual attack buffer, and that was really cool. And yeah, those were the stats that I used, and then all the other units I didn't really play that much, or this is like a work in progress right now. But yeah, I don't play these type of units actually right now. I did at the very end play, like on the last day, I played a little bit of Mio, so I can just pick and choose and try a little bit of different things. Don't know if I used Rin maybe at some point, but looking at all these other units, yeah, this is something I didn't play as much here. I think there's nothing much to say. Let me know how you finished. Ooh, nice one. Let's pick this up. How you finished in RTA Season 1, where did you finish off? Well, what was where you win riot? Well, what was your experience? What playstyle did you play? And as always, guys, if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below. I really appreciate it, and see you with the next one. Deuces.